What's going on, you guys? Welcome on back to the channel. Now, the newest episode of My Hero Academia just dropped, and honestly, it was about what I expected it to be. I had a feeling it was going to be a little bit of a step back in overall quality, just because we had that gauntlet of Bakugo episodes that just dropped. So, where pretty much all the animators were having the most fun I think that they've ever had working on this show. So obviously, with the Bakugo section now done, we were going to have a little bit of a step back in quality, especially because this episode is very dialogue heavy. It's one of the most dialogue heavy episodes we probably have left in this final stretch of My Hero. So it's kind of what I was expecting going in. But even so, there was a lot of good stuff here that I wanted to come on and talk about. So let's talk about this newest episode of My Hero Academia and why I loved it so much. First and foremost, what I really like about this episode is like the changes that they are making to Deku, right? They are the anime, I will give them this. They are making a more of a concentrated effort to give Deku more agency within the story because if you were reading the manga around this time, you probably had the same critique that I had, even if you loved this final stretch. And that critique is like Deku has no agency, and the vestiges kind of like influence his thoughts and pretty much take all agency away from him as a character, and he doesn't really do anything that he wants to do. The anime was smart in the fact that the vestiges didn't just talk at him and Deku just went along with whatever they were saying. Deku still had his own thoughts on the matter. Like when the second was like, "You need to give up one for all." Deku doesn't just immediately go, "Okay, I'm going to do that." You see him go through inner turmoil, having to part with the ability or the quirk that his hero gave to him, right? You see him struggling with it. You see him being like, "But what does this have to do with one for all? Why do I have to give up one for all in order to like save Shigaraki?" He's going through it. And that's something that really wasn't conveyed well in the manga because in the manga it just felt like Deku was just going along with it to go along with it. So I really like that the anime made the concentrated effort to give Deku more of an agency within the story and make the notion of him giving up one for all feel way more like emotional and impactful than it ever did in the source material because it kind of feels like it just happened in the manga, right? It didn't really feel like there was any emotional buildup to that moment. But here in the anime, they were able to give you that emotional buildup through like the performances, and I loved that so much. It felt so much better than it ever did in the manga. So I give the anime props for that. Even though this is a like weaker episode in terms of like overall quality, this is one of the best episodes in terms of adaptation, and I loved it so much for that. So gotta give this episode props for that. And then, dude, the fact that he gets an anime original transformation where it's essentially Deku fully accepting that he has to give up one for all, and that's why Carnage Deku happens. Like this transformation did not exist in the manga. It was like one like single panel and it happened off screen. Here in the anime, we get to see him like morph into this Carnage Deku. We see the nails get long. We see the black whip start to envelop his entire body, and the it makes the transformation so much better because now you have the emotional context behind it. You know that Deku is going through so much emotional turmoil at the notion that he has to give up his power in order to save Shigaraki. That's what makes it such a good transformation. It's not because he has more aura or anything like that. It's the emotional context behind it, and I love that so much. So major props to Bones for making Deku way more of a better character in this final stretch. Because, like I said, it felt like he was getting talked down to by the vestiges in like the manga. But here in the anime, it feels like he has way more agency as a character, and I like that a lot. So major props to Bones. So I'm very now, and now that this happened, I'm very excited to see what they do with Deku going forward in this final stretch, because I also had problems with the Vestiges just kind of like talking at him in the manga. So hopefully they fix a lot of that going forward in the anime, because there's still issues with that. So looking forward to seeing what happens next there. Now, Shigaraki too also had some really cool stuff. I like that even though a lot of his like big panels felt reduced in intensity, it's still they still added cool stuff that I didn't really know before. So in the anime, you see him kind of like propel himself off of these like ring type things, but we never really knew what that was. But now we know. That is his original quirk that he is using to jump around with. That is so cool to me. The fact that we get to see him use his original quirk, albeit subconsciously. He doesn't know what it is. He doesn't know it's his original quirk, but he's already so good with it that it makes you think, man, if he just had like one thing go his way, he could have probably been a hero growing up. He could have become one of the best heroes, man. He could have even been a hero that was helping Deku in the future, but because of All for One, he doesn't get to be that. And it's pretty much like a quote that I read on Twitter the other day. It was pretty much like uh, Tenko, no, it was Tomura Shigaraki was born to touch the clouds, but I don't know, but it was good. It was a really good quote. If I can find the quote, I'm gonna put it somewhere in this video, man. But essentially, it was like his kid version was born to touch the clouds, but his villain version was cursed to never touch anything at all. And that, in my opinion, is so good. So if I can find that, like the exact quote, I'm gonna put it in the video. But it makes Shigaraki such like a more I guess emotional character for me, or more that one that I can connect with more like visually, because like in the manga, I like I said, I didn't feel the emotional stakes with Shigaraki. I always thought that he was a villain beyond redemption, but seeing him use his childhood quirk like that, man, it makes Shigaraki such a good character, in my opinion. It makes you think, what if? What if things went his way? What if he didn't have to deal with all of this growing up and he could just be the hero that he always wanted to be? It honestly makes you think, man, like what could have happened? How does the story change? And I love it so much. So major props to Bones also for implementing that into the anime. I don't remember if that was in the manga, but if it was, hey, that's even better for Horikoshi, because I didn't even know that. So again, man, really great episode. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do next with this material, because next episode, they need to go crazy. This is essentially the final stretch of the actual fight between Deku and Shigaraki. So I need that fight to go crazy. Like, I think this is the next episode. Nakamura has to show up. We have to have our Nakamura cut, because I don't think his style really fits anywhere else. We already got our Vincent cut. We already got like the animation going crazy on Bakugo stuff, like I predicted, with the animators going crazy for him. I need to see Yutaka Nakamura in this next episode, and I think we're gonna get it. Oh, one last thing. I really like that in the final shot we see the vestiges getting ready to be passed on to Shigaraki on Deku's like hand, and then it immediately cuts into the ending, and he's holding the one for the All Might card, symbolizing one for all as being like the essentially the incarnation, or I guess the like lingering will of like Deku's will, and that being the gift from his mentor. I like that a lot. Long, pretty much like verbal vomit right there, but I love that a lot. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for me. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. How did you guys feel about this episode? Did you guys like it as much as me? Or did you guys think it wasn't as good as, say, the Bakugo episodes that we got recently? Let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe. And as always, I'm going to talk to you guys next time. Bye.